Hi friends, today we can start preparing ledger accounts. This is the second duty of the accountant. It means arranging similar transactions into groups. After recording the journal entry, accountant needs to classify entries into respective groups. This is the format we already discussed in the last video. It should be having a debit side and a credit side. It is in the form of T. That's why sometimes it is termed as T accounts. Both the side having same characteristics, like date column will be there, then a particular column where will be writing the aspects, then the concerned amount. The other side also same scenario. So we can jump into the problem. Actually, this is the problem we last worked out. We put all the entries, we recorded the first entries, we completed that one. So straight away now we are start preparing ledger accounts. Now we can take the first journal entry, which was ABC started business with cash 100,000. So the entry was cash to capital. It was 100,000. Now what we have to do? There are two accounts, two aspects in the entry, cash and capital. So we will first prepare an account, cash account. This is the debit column, debit side, which denotes by dr dot, and this is the credit side. This much comes to debit side and this much comes to credit side. Date column, particular, and amount. Now we will be preparing capital account also. Now we will be starting with the recording the first entry in the ledger accounts. Cash account debtor means cash account should be debited. It should be recorded in the debit side of the cash account. It should be recorded in the debit side of the cash account. Which is the debit side of cash account? This is the debit side of cash account. This is the debit side of cash account. First we have to put the date, which is 1st Jan 2024. Then this is cash account and the detail is cash account is getting increased by capital. So the second aspect, to capital, to capital, amount is 100,000. So first aspect recorded in the first account. Obviously second account is capital account. The same entry for capital account we credited it, so it should be recording in the credit side of the capital. It should be recording in the credit side of the capital by prefixing the word by cash account. Whenever we record in the credit side of an account, it should start with by. Amount is 1 lakh. So this is the way entry is getting passed in a ledger account. So this is the first entry we recorded. We finished this transaction. Now we can go to the second entry, bank account debit to cash account. Bank account debit to cash account. In this scenario, we need to prepare another account called bank account. I already prepared the one, the same like other account. The entry is bank account debit. Bank account debit means it should be debited. It should be recorded in the debit side of the bank account. It should be recorded in the debit side. 2nd Jan to cash, amount is 30,000. Second aspect is cash account. It should be credited. The account should be credited. It should be credited by. Whenever we record in the credit side of an account, it should start with by. By what? Bank account. I just prepared bank account. If the company is having multiple bank accounts, then we can prefix by SBI bank account or whatever the name of the bank. Second entry also we recorded two aspects, bank account debited, cash account credited. Next entry will be purchases account debit to ASHU. So I prepared purchase account as well as ASHU account. Now the entry is purchase account should be debited. The entry should be recorded in the debit side of purchases. Debit side of purchases. To ASHU. To ASHU. Amount is 20,000. In ASHU account, it should be recorded in the credit side. By purchases. So that entry also we record. Next entry, cash account debtor to sales. Cash account we already have, but sales account we need to prepare. So I prepared sales account. Now the entry is cash account should be debited. So it should be recorded in the debit side of the cash. By entry is to sales. Amount is 20,000. Sales account, it should be recorded in the credit side. By cash. So that entry also we finished. Next entry, purchases to cash. We already have purchase account, we already have cash account. So purchase, it should be recorded in the debit side. So it should be to cash. And cash account, it should be recorded in the credit side. By purchase. Next entry, Suman to sales. Suman account debtor to sales. So we need to create a ledger called Suman, and the entry should be recorded in the debit side. The entry is Suman account debtor, so it should be recorded in the debit side. To sales. In sales account, it should be recorded in the credit side. And the entry was by Suman. That entry also we finished. Next entry, both the entry we finished. Next entry, bank account debit, discount account debit to Suman. Bank account we already have, Suman account we already have. We need to prepare an account called discount. Now the entries you can easily say bank debit side. It should be recorded in the debit side of the bank. To aspect is to Suman. Here you should be very careful. Against bank we have written 19,500. Why? Because in bank we received only 19,500. Discount account debit. So we have to record in the debit side of the discount account. To Suman. Amount is 500. Now Suman account. Suman account we need to record two entries. First one, by bank 19,500. Next one, by discount 500. 20,000 was the debit amount we need to get received, and we received 19,500. 500 we given us discount. Next entry is ASHU account debit to bank. We already have ASHU account. We already having a bank account. ASHU, it should be recorded in the debit side. 20th Jan to bank. To bank. Amount was 10,000. Bank account, we are actually issued a check, so it gets credited to, not to, by ASHU. 10,000. Next entry, rent account debit to bank. Bank account we already have, rent we need to prepare. I already prepared the account. It should be, rent account debit means it should be recorded in the debit side of the rent. 22nd. To bank, amount was 2,000. And in bank account, it should be recorded in the credit side by rent. That one also got completed. Next entry, machinery to Parigya. Both the accounts we need to create. I already created. Machinery account, it should be recorded in the debit side. So 21st to Parigya, amount was 10,000, and in Parigya account it should be credited by machinery 10,000. That one also got finished. Next entry, Parigya to bank. Parigya to bank. So it should be recorded in the debit side of Parigya account as to bank. Then bank account, it should be on the credit side by Parigya 10,000. Next entry was salary to cash. I prepared the ledger. It should be recorded in the debit side. It should be recorded in the debit side. To cash, amount was 4,500. Cash account, it should be on the credit side by aspect was salary, amount was 4,500. So friends, you can see it is very easy to record the transaction. Okay, all the entries we completed. This is the way we are recording the, classifying, being the second duty of the accountant we are doing. See, this is the format of accountant. Account we need to prepare. There will be question for preparing the ledger accounts. Practical scenario, current scenario, the software is doing all these kind of duties. We are just supposed to prepare the journal entry only. Means we just need to input the journal entry. System will be preparing ledger accounts, trial balance, final accounts, by P&L and balance sheet, everything. Okay. Anyway, but for the exam purpose, you need to understand how we can prepare this one. So this is the format. First side is debit side denoting by DR dot, then account name, credit side CR. There should be a debit column. Particulars we are writing the second aspect in that account, then the amount column. So just like cash account debit to capital means, cash account debit means the account should be debited. It should be recorded in the debit side of the cash account. So we put in the debit side, and the aspect same to capital account. We are just recording, we are just putting this thing. So this is the way we are preparing the ledger accounts. And how it is balancing means every transaction completed, 1 month transaction is completed. So we will make a balance. Roughly we need to understand what is the both side balance. Here we can see it comes to 3 plus 4, 74,500, but here it is 120,000. So how the balancing is done for assets and liability, we need to record the higher side amount. Here it is 120,000 is the higher side amount, and the balancing we are doing by putting the last date of the month. Here it is 31st Jan 2024. We will be writing as, if it is in the credit side, it is lower, we will be writing as by balance carried down. Amount we are getting, actually this figure minus these three figures sum, and we can make a balance also here, and it should be like double underline. This is the way we are making the balance. See, you can understand from here, this account, cash we have 100,000. By way of sales, we got 20,000. So our total cash become 120,000, and 30,000 we paid deposited in bank. This is that corresponding entry. Then for purchases we gave 40,000. Then for salary 4,500 we have given. So by month end we are left with 45,500. Next month starting we will be putting the balance here as to balance brought down, that we will be doing in the further problems. So capital account, assets and liabilities account we will be balancing and carrying forward, and expenses and all we will be just making the total for preparation of trial balance. Now I will be showing you. See, here in capital account total was 100,000. This side is getting the balance, so the date will be the last date of the month. Here we will be starting to balance carry down. Amount is just 100,000. That is what left here there. Bank account, here it comes to 30 plus 19,500, 49,500. Here it is only 10 plus 2 plus 10, 22,000. So the bigger side is debit side. We will be making a balance first of all here, and last date is 31st Jan 2024. By balance carried down is equal to total minus sum of and by way of a double entry. Okay, now purchase account, as I already told, this is not an asset or liability account, this is an expense account. So here we will be just making a total here, double underline. Again, ASHU account, it may be asset or liability. Here it is by way of purchase 20,000 we need to pay, but we paid only 10,000. This is a liability for the company, so we need to make a balance. This is the higher side, 20,000, here 10,000, so this is the higher side. We will be making a total here, and this side on last day to balance carried down. Difference is 10,000 minus, sorry, 20,000 minus 10,000. It denotes that total purchases we made from ASHU is 20,000 worth, but we paid only a check of 10,000. Balance carried forward means we need to pay this liability in the future. Sales account is a debit balance account. I just putting here, I forgot to make a column here. The total comes to 40,000 for the time being. Then Suman, it was 20,000 and we paid by 19,500. They allowed 500. I mean, we need to get 20,000. We got 19,500. 500 we gave us discount. So there is nothing left. We can make a balance as such. Here we would not be writing any balance because there is no balance. 20,000. Discount account is an expense, so just making the total. Rent account is also an expense account. We are just making a total. Machinery is an asset. So we need to balance. This is the higher side. So we will be writing by balance carried down 10,000. Pragya 10,000, 10,000. We bought the machinery, we paid. So there is nothing left. Just make a total both sides. Salary is also an expense. Just make a total. That's it. Now we can logically say that, see, this is the journal entry, which is being the primary entry, which is the first entry the accountant is recording for keeping the record of transactions. But now it is classifying, means arranging the similar transactions into that concerned account. Why we are doing? See, we can understand easily. We are left with the 45,500 in our cash. So if the owner asks what is the balance left in the month, then we can say we are left with the 45,500. He may ask like what happened, then what are the transactions happened in this month. We can say you bought actually 100,000, by way of salary we got 20,000, and 30,000 we paid for starting the bank account. 40,000 purchases made, salary paid 4,000, we are left with capital also like that. We are left with balance 100,000. It would not get changed. Then bank account also, he may ask what is the balance there. We can say 27,500 is left because 30 deposited first. Suman gave 19,500. See Suman's account. Ashu we gave 10,000. For rent we paid 2,000. Parigya we gave by for machinery 10,000, balance left. So this is the logic behind preparing the ledger account, in order to know by the end of the month how much we left with in each account, so that the owner gets an idea, so he can plan accordingly for next month, for next purchases and all. So this is, maybe you can find it very like a bit of clerical job. Still it is very easy. You can practice, you can easily do the things. So we can wind up the class for the time being.